Picture a frigid January morning in 1780, wind howling outside your small Midwest cabin. The world is silent except for the creak of frozen trees and the distant call of a crow. The snow outside is deep, blanketing the land in white, and the cold seeps through every crack in the walls. You pull your wool blanket tighter, knowing that today, like every day this winter, survival is your main concern. There's no thermostat, no light switch, and certainly no corner store for milk and bread. The only warmth comes from the fire you keep burning, and the only light is the flicker of a candle or oil lamp. Every resource is precious, and nothing can be wasted. The nearest town is a day's journey away, roads buried in snow. Even if you could make the trip, there's no guarantee supplies would be waiting for you. Travel is dangerous, and most families stay put, relying on what they have at home. Your survival depends on what you managed to grow, hunt, and preserve last year. Every jar of beans, every smoked ham, every basket of potatoes is a testament to months of hard work and careful planning. Winter wasn't just inconvenient. It was a season of scarcity that demanded careful planning. Families counted every jar and rationed every meal, hoping their supplies would last until spring. The modern idea of endless food choices is a recent luxury. Today, we take for granted the abundance and variety on supermarket shelves. But for early settlers, food security was never guaranteed. Our ancestors didn't ask, "What's for dinner?" They asked, "Will we have enough to eat by February?" Every meal was a calculation, every bite a reminder of the months still to come. Life's rhythm followed the seasons: spring for planting, summer for growing, autumn for harvesting before the frost. Each season brought its own challenges and rewards, and every member of the family played a part. Every potato, every apple, every kernel of corn was a victory against winter hunger. These humble foods were more than just sustenance. They were hope, security, and the promise of another spring. The cellar and pantry weren't just storage, they were your lifeline. Each shelf and sack represented the difference between comfort and hardship, between making it through the winter or facing hunger. In the north, winters were brutal and growing seasons short. The land could be unforgiving, and only the most resilient families and crops survived. Settlers needed crops that could survive harsh climates. Failure wasn't an option. They chose grains and vegetables that could withstand frost and poor soil, learning from each year's successes and failures. So, what did you eat on a cold January morning? Whatever you'd managed to store. Breakfast was simple, hearty, and always a reminder of the work that went into every bite. Preserved meats, dried beans, pickled vegetables, and at the heart of it all, a humble, resilient grain. Oats, barley, and corn were staples, filling and reliable, able to last through the longest winters. It wasn't glamorous, but it was dependable, and in winter, that's what mattered. Each meal was a quiet triumph, a testament to resilience, resourcefulness, and the enduring spirit of those who came before us. Before refrigeration, every home was a food factory, preserving autumn's bounty for winter. Drying, salting, smoking, pickling, and fermenting turned perishables into long-lasting staples. Dried apples, beans, salted pork, and pickled vegetables filled the cellar. These methods didn't just prevent spoilage, they often made food more nutritious. But above all, grain was the foundation. Properly stored, it could last years, providing hundreds of meals from a few barrels. Grains were the bedrock of survival, the canvas for every winter meal. And in the cold north, one grain stood above the rest. Wheat was the grain of the wealthy, a symbol of prosperity and refinement on the tables of the upper class. Its golden fields stretched across the heartlands, but its success depended on gentle climates and fertile earth. Yet, wheat struggled in the cold, wet soils of Scotland, northern England, and the American Midwest. In these regions, relentless rain and chill turned fields into muddy challenges, making wheat a risky crop for ordinary farmers. Oats, on the other hand, thrived where wheat failed, tolerating poor soil, cool temperatures, and heavy rain. Their resilience made them the backbone of northern agriculture, flourishing in places where other grains simply couldn't survive. For farmers living on the edge of survival, oats weren't a choice, they were a necessity. Planting oats meant the difference between hunger and a full belly, between hardship and hope. Samuel Johnson once mocked oats as food for horses in England, but for people in Scotland. But for many, oats meant survival. In harsh climates, oats became a staple, woven into daily life and tradition. Oats were cheap, reliable, and packed with calories. They could be stored through long winters, ground into flour, or cooked into hearty porridge that warmed both body and spirit. Immigrants brought their oat traditions to America, where the grain again proved its worth. Oats adapted to new lands, helping settlers endure unfamiliar climates and uncertain harvests. Oats fed families and livestock alike, powering settlement and survival. They nourished children, fueled hard labor, and kept animals strong through harsh seasons. They were the unsung hero of the homestead, quietly supporting generations as they built new lives from the ground up. One hearty bowl at a time, oats fueled the building of new lives, providing comfort, strength, and a taste of home in even the toughest times. Harvesting oats was just the start. The tough hull had to be removed, by hand or at the local mill, after lightly toasting the grain for flavor and preservation. Millstones knocked the hulls loose, and winnowing separated the edible groats. Stored in barrels, these groats could last all winter. Coarsely ground, they became steel-cut oats for porridge. Milled finer, they made flour for baking. Oat flour lacked gluten, but it was perfect for dense breads and oat cakes. Different grinds meant variety. Porridge, stews, breads. A single barrel of oats could become a dozen different meals. Versatility was survival. Oat porridge was the breakfast of survival. Simple, filling, and warming. Coarse oats, water or milk, a pinch of salt, simmered slowly over the fire. Stirred with a spurtle, the oats thickened into a hearty mush, filling the cabin with a nutty aroma. Porridge provided slow-burning energy for hours of hard work. It was functional food, fuel for chopping wood or tending chores in the cold. Sometimes butter, cream, or dried berries were added, but often it was just oats and salt. It wasn't exciting, but it was nourishing. For many, a bowl of porridge was the difference between hunger and strength. That humble bowl was a symbol of resilience. Oats weren't just for porridge. They became oat cakes, breads, and even beer. Scottish oat cakes were thin, hard crackers, just oats, water, salt, and a bit of fat, baked until crisp. Perfect for travel, they lasted for days and paired with cheese or salted meat. Oat flour made dense, filling breads. Nothing like airy wheat loaves, but they kept hunger at bay. Oats thickened stews and soups, adding calories and body. Savory oat porridges like skirlie were common evening meals. Even beer was brewed from oats, providing safe hydration and extra calories. Oats' flexibility made them essential for surviving winter's long months. To understand oats, I made a simple oat cake. Just oats, whole wheat flour, salt, butter, and hot water. Mix, knead, roll thin, cut, and cook on a hot griddle. The aroma was toasty and ancient, smelling like sustenance itself. The finished oat cake was crisp, sturdy, and deeply oaty. Alone, it was subtle and wholesome. Paired with cheese or apple butter, it was delicious. You can see why oat cakes were perfect for travel. Built to last, easy to carry. The taste is honest and satisfying, a reminder of simpler times. This humble food connected me to centuries of survival. Sometimes the simplest recipes tell the richest stories. Oatcakes are proof that necessity can create something enduring. Long before science praised oats, people knew they were strengthening and gentle on the stomach. Cookbooks and household manuals recommended oats for the sick and recovering. Oats were seen as food for building strong bodies and clear minds. Scottish culture celebrated oats as the source of resilience and vigor. Even some English doctors recognized their value for health and healing. People noticed that oat eaters were robust and hardy. Modern science has only confirmed what tradition already knew. Today, surrounded by endless food choices and modern conveniences, it's easy to overlook a simple bowl of oatmeal on the breakfast table. But every oat carries the legacy of survival, chosen not for taste, but for necessity. For centuries, oats were a lifeline, a crop that could withstand harsh winters and poor soil when little else would grow. Oats fueled migrations, built nations, and shaped cultures. They were the backbone of communities, providing energy and warmth when times were tough. The Scottish, Irish, and American settlers all relied on oats to get through winter. In drafty cabins and stone cottages, porridge simmered over fires, offering comfort and sustenance. When we eat oats now, we connect to that history, a ritual repeated for centuries. Each spoonful is a bridge to the past, a reminder of resilience and resourcefulness. The core remains, a warm, nourishing, sustaining food that has stood the test of time, adapting to new tastes and traditions. Oats are a taste of history, a link to those who endured before us. They remind us of the strength found in simplicity. Next time you eat porridge, remember, it's more than breakfast. It's a survival tool, a symbol of perseverance through the coldest months. The humble oat deserves respect and a place at our table, not just for its flavor, but for the story it carries in every grain. It's the unsung hero of winter, offering warmth, strength, and a connection to generations past in every comforting bowl.